I know that people struggle with the structured reference syntax used in tables. I get it, it's different. But maybe it's not the syntax, but how the table is being used, which is the source of the problem. And that's what we're looking at in this video. So if you're ready, let's get started. Let's suggest you're chatting to someone at a party and you ask where they live. And they reply with, I live at 51.501 degrees north and 0.141 degrees west. Now, if you care enough, you'll pull out your phone, open up the Maps app and start trying to find out where on earth that is. But instead, let's imagine they replied with, I live in Buckingham Palace. You don't need a map. You don't even need to know exactly where that is. The name tells you everything that you need to know. And believe it or not, this is the very reason why we should use table structure references in Excel. Coordinates are positional. They tell you where something is so that you can go and find it. But names tell you what something is, and then your brain does the rest. So in Excel, a traditional cell reference like B7 is nothing more than a coordinate. It's anchored to Excel's own version of longitude and latitude, where everything starts in the top left corner in cell A1. Now coordinates work fine when things are in positions relative to each other. But in Excel, we can easily drag, drop, insert and delete. Therefore, unless we apply strict principles, things are rarely in the same place. When we work with data, the lowest level of efficiency for laying out that data is called first normal form. We covered that in a previous video. And when data is stored in first normal form, the position is irrelevant. That's actually the fourth rule of first normal form. Therefore, if columns move or rows move, it doesn't matter. Data quality remains the same because the table holding the data and each column in that table is identified by name and not by position. Data tools all apply this concept. For example, SQL works this way, Power Query works this way, DAX works this way. Coordinates are not required because we refer to things by name. Let's now bring this idea into Excel. If we create a table in Excel, either by clicking Insert and Table, or by pressing Ctrl T, it creates a table object. This table looks like it lives on the grid, but the table object itself kind of floats on top of the worksheet. It has a name, for example, employees. And inside that table, each column has a name, such as full name. So Excel tables let us refer to data in a similar way to other data tools. In this scenario, we could refer to the full name column as employees, and then in square brackets, we would use full name. There is no position, there is only names. So if we want to sum the salary column, we use the sum of the employees table and then the salary column. Now, I have heard people say, I wish we could use a formula for the table column name. But that's crazy. Imagine if your name was based on a formula and it constantly changed. Therefore, each time somebody wanted to say your name, they would have to calculate a value. We need names to be constant so we know what we are referring to. Hopefully, at this point, it all makes sense and table structured references seem quite simple. And if we use first normal form as the layout for holding data, they are. All we ever need is the table name and the column name. But Microsoft realized that tables would be viewed on the grid, so they made them more Excel friendly. For example, even though tables are for holding data, and in data, columns don't have position, Microsoft allowed us to select adjacent columns. And when we do, the syntax has the table name and the column names separated by a colon with outer square brackets. Now this is positional. They are adjacent. They have to be positional. In this example, those columns are intended to provide meaning to the reader. It uses the Gestalt principles of proximity and continuity so that we can infer meaning from the structure, which means this is an information layout and not a data layout. Also, we have a header row, which is not part of the data, but Microsoft allows us to reference and select the header row. When we do that, we also get a position selector which displays #header. The total row is not part of the data, but we can reference and select that too. When we use that, we get #total in the formula. And if we select the header and the data and the total, we get #all. These additional syntax elements aren't part of the data. They are user interface conveniences which have been laid on top for an Excel audience. Therefore, all of these features add complexity because they have positional behavior, which is used inside an object which is name-driven. If you like this video and you've learned something new, then why not check out our Excel Academy? That's the place where we teach the right way to use Excel. It contains all the courses, tools and support that you will ever need. Just head on over to exceloffthegrid.com and check it out. If you're thinking, but this table layout isn't easy to read and understand, exactly, it's not for you. The layout is for Excel. If we look at the reporting and analysis blueprint, tables exist here in the data stage. Then from that data, we calculate and visualize to create the output, which is easy for people to read and understand. So here's the key takeaway. If you think table structure references are difficult, it might be because you're trying to use tables, which are name-driven objects, as if they are position-driven objects. But if you keep your tables in a proper data form, and if you think about them in terms of names and not positions, suddenly structured references become exactly what they were always meant to be: clear, stable, readable, and future-proof. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.